Hello, Beak Squad. David Burns with you tonight. Good to be with you guys. Thanks for joining us this evening. Look at that. Got my Beak Squad shirt on, and we have these available on our website if you want to be the proud owner of a Beak Squad hat or t-shirt. Be sure and look at the Beak Squad merch, and you can be one of us. I'm looking forward to catching up with you guys at Cayman's conference. It's called the North American Honeybee Expo. And it's going to be at Louisville, Kentucky, January the 4th through 6th. Be wearing these shirts and I'll know you're a viewer. Or you can come up and tell me with a different shirt on. But I'm looking forward to seeing all you guys at the conference. It's going to be a fun time. I'll be speaking at Cayman's conference. And to make it simple, we're just calling it the Bee Expo. And rumor has it, actually heard it from Cayman yesterday, he sold 2,600 tickets already. That's outstanding. And wow, that's going to be a huge conference. So we're kind of really getting excited about that. Going to be a good time to be with so many beekeepers and just talk and share. You know, I like going to bee conferences, and I find myself spending a lot of time out in with the group, just talking to people, and more than I oftentimes do listening to speakers. So that's cool. It says hashtag hope you win. Not sure what that means, but somebody might be winning something. But we are going to have a giveaway later on in the live stream. I'm going to be giving away, look at this. This was featured in one of my recent videos. It's going to be I don't know, it's a big jar of honey from our apiary here. We actually don't sell honey. We use it all for the operation here, but this is one that I promised in a video that I would be giving this away. So that's going to be something coming up. And if you're going to be one of the winners, be sure and watch this all the way till 8 o'clock. We do appreciate Jessica Fairfax for helping us out. We have raised up her responsibilities. She's helping out more in the task of administrating the live stream along with Sherry. So appreciate you guys. Wow, I don't think I could do it without them helping out. It's so very nice. I've got something I want to share tonight that is like, I'm pumped and excited about this. I really am. And it's something to be mindful of for all of us. It's something that it helps me to think this through. But I have really been bothered lately by some statistics. And before I get into this, let me tell you that the statistics I'm sharing tonight are not hard, fast statistics. I researched it as much as I could. I really couldn't find anything that proves that these statistics are accurate. But I've heard people say it so much over and over again, and I put it through my own brain, and I thought, that's pretty close. And so it's about the number of beekeepers that drop out of beekeeping. And the statistics that's floating around, for whatever it's worth, let's just call it a rumor that is probably pretty close, is that about 80% of beekeepers get out of beekeeping their first year. That's astounding, isn't it? That means if, well, let's say you get 100 beekeepers, that at the end of the year, you've only got 20 beekeepers left. And that's really fascinating to think about that. And so I've been thinking for quite some time about what does all this mean? And I want to give you a little presentation tonight. I always like to give a little teaching, a little talk before we get into some questions. And so you feel free to leave some comments, by the way, about this as we go through it, because I always like to say that I don't have all the answers. I'm not saying that anything that I say you should do, you should follow. I'm just one beggar telling the other beggar that I found some food and it works for me. So anytime I say things like that, you know, this is something that I've wrapped my brain around, but I'm really quick to change my mind if somebody else comes along and says you're totally wrong, whether it's beekeeping or anything. So, but I want to share that with you. I want to thank you guys again. I see you guys from Arkansas, from Canada, Oregon, North Carolina, San Francisco, New Hampshire. So good to see so many of you here from Alabama. Hey, talking about Alabama, I hope it's warmer in Alabama than it is here. We had the rain went through yesterday, early this morning, and boy, it cooled off a lot, and it's going to get colder this weekend. So we're thinking about what are the bees going to be doing? It's going to be 44 degrees, I think, on Friday night here. And we got a lot of rain today. We really did. almost an inch of rain. It just poured, which we really needed to fill up our well. Last year, you remember our well ran dry. You had to have water hauled in. So good to have rain to fill up our well. Good to see somebody here from East Central Indiana. That's not too far away, and from Texas. That's great. All right. Well, let me share some thoughts with you guys. See, I want to share this presentation. Yeah, look at this. It says, and the title of my presentation is Stop Complicating Beekeeping. And I say that, I don't want it to come across like this. I'm not saying stop complicating beekeeping. It's more like saying this, you know what? Let's all chill a little bit. Let's kind of calm down about beekeeping, and let's don't make it so complicated, because it's really not all that complicated. All right. We make it complicated, and other people make us feel like we have to complicate it, but it's just bees in a box. So let's talk about that. So 80% of beekeepers quit during their first year. That seems like a large number. And look at this. Here, I've just thrown up 100 beekeepers. We have 100 beekeepers there. And somebody responded to a video that I made, or a comment that I made, about why people are quitting. And this is Blue Lab 5019. Not sure if he's in here tonight, but I pasted up 100 beekeepers on our slide here. And look at this. Let's take his statistics from the UK. He says the stats show that for giving up is, in 1 year, 80% of new beaks give up. And out of the 20% that are left, 80% of those will give up within 4 years. That's staggering. Now, just hold this for a minute. Look at that. So he's saying that in the first year, that's how many beekeepers we lost. Look at that. Wow. And then if we take it further to its other calculation, after 4 years out of 100 beekeepers, look, those 4 people are left there as beekeepers. Now, that's a big loss. And one of the things I want to point out tonight, I'm going to stress this. I'm excited that YouTube is playing a gigantic role, I believe the largest role, in helping new beekeepers not only get started, but their retention level is important too. So let's talk about that a little bit more. I got a YouTube comment that I want to share from Slava790. He said, my wife and I have kept bees for 5 years. She just quit beekeeping because of anxiety. She was anxious about keeping them alive through winter, keeping them mite-free, swarming, etc. I stayed with it because I enjoy solving problems. Now, that comment really struck a heartstring with me. I thought, oh, wow, I don't like to see anybody give up beekeeping because there's a level of anxiety or anxiousness about, am I going to be able to keep my bees alive? And how do I control swarming? And how do I keep my hive mite-free? There's a lot of pressures today on beekeepers that wasn't present 20, 30 years ago. And so we need to really think about this. Why are we losing so many beekeepers? And one of the things that I'm questioning today in this presentation is that I want to involve all of us. I want to say, are we losing beekeepers because we're missing a target audience? And I'm going to show you what I mean in just a minute. And I'm going to say that myself, YouTube, content creators in beekeeping, big bee companies, I'm not going to name them, you know who they are, beekeeping magazine companies. I want to talk about just all aspects of beekeeping and the influence that they may be having on the dropout rate. So let's get into this a little bit more. So I believe that the missed target audience is something that we need to really think about. Hey, Tom, I saw your donation there. He said, new statistics, the 80% that quit didn't find you in your video classes in your program. The 20% that kept it up did find your content. Thanks for all you do. Okay, Northern Minnesota. Well, thanks, Tom. I appreciate that. So, look at this. We got conferences, YouTube channels, big bee companies, magazines like the Bee Culture that I write an article for every month, and American Bee Journal. Those are the two big ones. We have Facebook groups all over the place in beekeeping and local beekeeping club. And I feel, and I could be wrong, I have been observing bees for 27 years, and that means I've been observing beekeepers that long too, and I've taught beekeepers. I'm wondering if we're putting our main target interest on these 4 that remain beekeepers. In other words, you go to a conference, are the conferences geared toward new beginners, or are they geared toward very experienced beekeepers? Are YouTube channels geared toward beginners, or somewhere in the middle, or experienced beekeepers? Beekeeping companies, magazines, Facebook groups, local bee clubs. Because I've heard a lot of you have told me that when you go to a local beekeeping club, that you're talked down to. You're kind of put in a position of like, you should know this, or don't you know that? Or of course, that's the way you do this. And you don't feel comfortable raising your hand and saying, this is my first time to be here. I don't know what a frame is. What do you mean by a frame? You don't feel comfortable asking that. And so that can be a real problem that keeps compounding. It's like you start a math class and you're jumping into a math class trying to figure out how you add and subtract. And all at once you realize you're in a calculus class, an algebra class, and you don't know how to do algebraic phrases in calculus. And you're like, well, you just multiply this by that. I don't know multiplication. Are we expecting too much from new beginners, and that's why they're dropping out? So I'm wondering about, 90%, 96 out of 100 fell out. So conferences, companies, YouTube, etc. Are we oftentimes packing too much heavy material toward the 4 very experienced that remain in beekeeping because they're there doing the talking and we know them and we see them over and over again? Because I remember my first conference I went to when I was a brand new beekeeper. I mean, look, I started back in the early 90s before the internet, people. There were just no books hardly on beekeeping that I had access to. I lived out in the country. It was rough starting out for me. It really was. I wasn't a part of a beekeeping club. I didn't have a mentor or anything, no internet. And so when I went to my first conference, I heard things that I thought I was like, is this English? I can't even understand. I wanted to say something, like no habla español or something. I don't know what you're even saying. I can't grasp these words you're spewing out of me. That's how uneducated in beekeeping I was. And so it was painful for me to sit there. I couldn't even put in anywhere. I couldn't even, I didn't even find a place where I could say, okay, I know a little bit here. I can catch some traction here. I just walked away feeling like, wow, that was a waste of time. Because all the speakers were scientists, entomologists, giving reports on their most recent studies and saying words and concepts. It's a brand new beginner, way over the top of my head. And in fact, even today, as a master beekeeper, I can hear some conferences and I almost want to leave the presentation because it's so complicated and it's not applicable to me that I think, am I wasting my time listening to this? Angela, thank you for your donation. I appreciate that. Yeah. So the response from new beginners that I've been talking to, they feel that they must catch up to the experienced beekeepers within a few months. Now, that's the problem. It's not really the bee companies, not the YouTubers. It's not really the conference directors and all that. There's a feeling, and it may be kind of pressured by all these things that I've mentioned. But you go to your Facebook group and people are talking about all these big words, diatomaceous earth. They're talking about probiotics, the right little feed technique that you got to get just right. Oh my gosh. And you get all this pressure of like, oh, in the Facebook group, they said this and I didn't quite do it that way. Or maybe he's going to die, that anxiety. And then sometimes you feel like you got to follow the herd mentality or else they'll make fun of you for not doing exactly what they're suggesting you do. And it leads to a lot of anxiety, a lot of frustration, a lot of feelings of failure. Some examples, and I'd be the first to admit I'm guilty of this, but I'll make a YouTube video on, okay, I want to teach you guys about the Damare method. Here's what you do. You take these frames, put them up here, put those frames down here. I mean, it's confusing as heck for a new beginner. All right, first of all, what the heck is Damari? You know, sometimes we don't even let people know that's a man's name that came up with this. We think it's something you buy. It's made out of Damari wood. I don't know. And so that's a problem. Snow growth board. You know, what is even, I don't even like snails to begin with. Why don't you have a board of snails? We assume people know that's somebody's name. Double screen boards. Exactly what is a double screen board? How can a board have two screens on it? It's just confusing. And then you get into heat boxes and quilt boxes, and you get into probiotics. You get into Formic Pro. You get all these other things going on. Be Amazing Hives. Thank you for your contribution tonight. I appreciate that. And so it's really tough. You know, these failures that just overtake us can be pretty intimidating. And I used to go to a lot of bee conferences and bee clubs. I was asked, I still go to bee clubs and I'm asked to speak at, but I used to go attend bee clubs. And boy, I tell you, it's really tough. There's a dynamic there that can be very intimidating sometimes. So a case in point, I've watched new beginners leave conferences with tons of beekeeping stuff that they bought that I know they'll never use. You know, I mean, I would have done it too. I would have bought those things too. Bee company catalogs. If you looked at the bee company catalog lately, they're full of so many more products now. I mean, literally products. I have to browse through there just to stay up on what things are. Everybody is making a new product. And if you just happen to watch the right video on YouTube, or you attend the right conference, and you hear, you know, somebody say that, look at this new product, all of us, we're all like, oh my gosh, there's a new product, one that's going to really be fantastic. I've got to get this and try it. I mean, I don't think people are trying to mislead us. I mean, I get excited about new things I come up with, but everybody just has to get on that. I mean, literally, listen to this. We as content creators on YouTube and beekeeping, we can actually practically sell out a company's item that they have in stock by mentioning it on one of our YouTube videos. It's amazing. Yeah, we can literally make it go out of stock that fast. That's how people want one of those items that somebody mentions. A lot of these things, and I was listening to Canon last night talk about this, but there should be a huge responsibility for all of us that are content creators to realize we have a lot of responsibilities upon us in helping new beginners sort all of this out. It's really important. And I feel like, I know when I had a talk with Jerry Hayes and I started writing for Bee Culture magazine, he was really excited to bridge YouTube into Bee Culture magazine. And I think that was a very wise thing to do. I'm wondering how many beekeeping companies aren't catching on that the bulk of people coming into beekeeping and the bulk of people that are getting their knowledge today are really going to YouTube. And that's just not beekeeping. I've made videos about this. It's everything. Like I said, I fixed my dryer the other day, my clothes dryer, watching a YouTube video. You know, play it, pause it, unscrew that part, play it, pull that piece over there, pause it. That's what people do today. And so this is something we need to be cognizant of when you have these massive conferences with just so much new scientific information and massive bee catalogs that are geared to sell tanker trucks of fructose corn syrup for big commercial beekeepers. The little guy, you know, he just feels, whoa, what am I supposed to do with this? Am I supposed to get on the bandwagon of all this? So I think the cause is that new beginners feel losing their bees so much that they chase these different opinions and products. I think I did when I first started. I got to find out, what am I doing? How do I keep this alive? This guy has a great opinion and I'm going to follow this guy. Or this product is, I wish I had one nearby me, you know, but this product is supposed to just be the best thing ever for your bees. This new food substance is awesome. I tried it. One guy on YouTube can say, I tried it and it was awesome and it's great. Everybody's got to get that new feeding solution. And then there's the personalities. Let's face it. I'm a personality on YouTube, whether I like it or not. I realize that. And sometimes we feel like that personality is going to lead me to the promised land because I just like what they do. I'm going to follow them all the way to the promised land. So it almost becomes this self-imposed chaos in our mind. And I think that's why some people are filled with so much anxiety about beekeeping and so much frustration. I think that's why they're overwhelmed. They watch this personality, that personality. They go to this conference and that conference, this magazine, that magazine. They see this product and that product. It all sounds so good. It all sounds like the best thing ever. I don't know which one to follow. I don't know which one to use. It used to be we would say you ask 11 beekeepers one question, you get 12 answers. Now it's different because now you don't have to ask beekeepers any questions. You go watch a YouTube video. You go to a bee conference. You get a new book that just came out on bees. It's different than it used to be because we have a lot more at our fingertips now. Well, what's the solution? I think the solution is pretty simple. And for the most part, we're probably doing it. I'm not saying we're not doing this. And again, I don't have all the answers, but I think with new beginners far outnumbering existing beekeepers, we need to include new beginners in our presentations, in our magazine articles, in our local clubs, in our conferences, classes, on our YouTube channel. It may be as simple as backing up and explaining a term to somebody while we're teaching or giving a YouTube channel. We might need to explain a little bit more because sometimes we assume I know it, everybody watching me knows it. Like we might say, look at this bee brush here. Hey, everybody, I got a bee brush. This brush really worked good for me today. A bee brush, a new beginner might, when would I ever brush my bees? A new beginner might say, I have no idea what you do with a bee brush. Hey, thanks, Philip, for your super sticker. I appreciate that. So all the new products that come out, we need to, when we're teaching or we're talking about things, we need to say, a bee brush is a great tool to have. Sometimes you just need to get bees off a frame or the edge of your box before you put the next box down. And you say something like this, don't you hate crushing bees when you put the two boxes back together? That's what a bee brush is for. It brushes bees out of the way. I mean, you wouldn't think you'd have to say that. But a new beginner, why do we assume that they know everything about all the things that we say? So it's a matter of just including these things when we make presentations, when we teach people, and that we also, now this is a big one for me. I think we need to show a lot more kindness and understanding to those who are struggling to get a handle on beekeeping. Now, I know this firsthand. I see it all the time. That a new beginner is just treated like you should know this stuff already. And a lot of terms are just glossed over because we expect new beginners to know this. And I don't think that's fair. I think we need to show a little more kindness. I think, when I was starting out, I would have appreciated it had people come around and arm to arm with me and help me know all the different things about beekeeping. I love learning new things. I really do. I learn new things. And then when I learn them, I go to other master beekeepers and I say things like, how many Malpighian tubules are in a young bee versus an older bee, just to see if people know stuff like that. I mean, it means nothing, right? It's just science. We kick it around. But, you start talking about Malpighian tubules to a new beginner, it's useless. It's wasted. There's no reason to say that. But if you're trying to explain why bees don't pee and poo like humans do, you have to say something like, well, it's just all kind of mixed together. And then you don't have to say Malpighian tubules. And you just say it's just different than humans. They have a different, you study bee anatomy and you can kind of walk them through things like that. I think we just need to have a bigger understanding of how we can include new beginners in a conversation. And also, we may not like this part of it, but listen to this. I think different generations learn differently. And so a lot of times we're talking to younger people, different age groups. We have to speak to them differently. Thank you, Matthew, for your super sticker today. I think it's fair to say that sometimes we need to say, we need to adapt our teaching so that we can come across to as many people as possible and not leave people out. That's what we need to focus on the majority of our audience, but also do it in such a way that will not push them to quit. I mean, any of us can make a presentation that's over everybody's head, new beginners, and they'll just feel like, well, I'm done. I don't know what the guy was talking about. He talked about things I don't even know where I would buy one of those or how I would put it on my hive. They get frustrated and they want to quit. So we need to realize, and I want to end my teaching with this. I want to say this. Look, guys, it's okay as a new beginner that you keep bees at your level that you're at. It's okay. Let's say that you don't have a handle on mites yet. It's not the end of the world. It just means you don't have a handle on mites yet. It's not in your skill set. It doesn't mean you need to quit. People shouldn't make you feel bad. It just means you don't have a handle on it. You don't know that yet. It's okay. If you don't have a handle on small hive beetle, man, I've been fighting them this year. Oh, and they slimed a few frames. I'm going to make a video of that. Not in the hive, but I made a mistake and left a super out that I forgot I had sitting in a room with beetles in there, and they slimed it. Oh, it was gross. What did I do? It's like, okay, I don't care. I don't have to have those 3 super frames anyway. It was good. It was good source for a YouTube video. Hey, Corey, thank you for that donation. I appreciate it. It's okay not to know everything your first year. Don't watch all these YouTube videos. Don't watch all these conference speakers. Don't read all those magazine articles that are so much more than what you know right now. Don't read those and get discouraged. Read them, and if it isn't making any sense, stop reading it. Don't throw the magazine out because 2 or 3 years from now, you'll be looking for that article. Now you understand it. See what I'm saying? But that first year, don't worry about it. It's okay. It's okay for you not to complicate beekeeping. Please don't complicate it. I'm mentoring Bee Team 6 mentors all the time. And I know a lot of you are watching, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but oftentimes the questions, people just naturally have a way of complicating things, and you don't have to do that. Simplify it. Simplify beekeeping. You'll stay in it a lot longer. Oh, that was fun. Thanks, guys, for letting me share that. That was a lot of fun. I appreciate that, because the only reason I have stayed in beekeeping for, I think, 27 years roughly, is just because nothing ever really touched my ego. If I lost a bunch of hives, so what? I'll learn and I'll move on next time. Made a mistake. Okay, I made a mistake. It didn't work out right. I learned from it. And it doesn't bother me to make mistakes today. That's how we learn. And I don't want anybody to be a new beginner and be filled with so much anxiety that you're just stressed out over your bees. Come on, bees are there for us to enjoy. They're there for us to relax and find something in nature we can tie into and relax and watch. There'll be enough time in the future. I mean, if you lose your hive, you start again next year, take that knowledge, work toward it. I'm not telling you to be neglectful. I'm not telling you just to blindly keep bees and not care about growing. I'm just saying there's a learning curve that we need to respect in all people. Let everybody have their chance to learn. Come on. I did. I'm still learning a lot. Oh man, did you like that? Was that, you think I'm on the mark on that? So I really think that that's why a lot of people are dropping out. I think we're talking to the wrong audience. If the audience is made up of mostly new beginners, it can be overwhelming. We can push too much on them at one time. Absolutely. All right. Well, why don't we have a giveaway right now? I really want to give away this big jar of honey from our apiary. Look at that. I loved watching that bubble, don't you? When I was a kid, my mom used to, that's the word, hashtag honey. If you want to win this jar of honey, we'll ship it out to you. Only got one, sorry. But my mom used to take me to the store, and I'd always try to get her to buy me a jar of honey as a little kid. And it always had a big hunk of wax in it. That's the one I wanted. I think it was like $20 way back in the 60s. And I'd come home and chew that wax. Man, I was a lover of honey from way back. And this would be some honey from our operation here at LIVESTREAM Honeybee Farms. You'll enjoy that. So just in the comment section, all you got to do is type hashtag honey. Don't put capital H. You'll be left out. Spell it right, like honey top bees. Somebody left that. That's not going to work. You're not going to be, you got to somebody put all caps honey. It's not going to work either. You got to type in hashtag all lowercase. Come on, people, you're complicating my giveaway. Why are they complicating my giveaway? Make it simple. Don't complicate it. All lowercase is a hashtag. It's a lowercase. Come on, there, correct yourself. You can write it correctly if you don't have that already. Oh, let me get to my screen here. I'm going to try to do this right tonight. Oh, there it is. Let's see. Hope you win. Let's see. Let me go over here to my other screen and click on that one. Start collecting comments. That's what we want to do. All right, we got 50 entries so far on the jar of honey. 52. There it is. Finally, I did something right. All right, look at me. I use StreamYard. For those of you that are watching tonight, StreamYard takes all the complication out of live streaming, in my opinion. I don't get paid by them. I pay them a lot of money. I have to pay them a lot of money to have everything go the way it should. So anyway, I love StreamYard because it makes these giveaways a lot easier too. So if you want this jar of honey, this is our giveaway tonight. We've got 75 people that like a taste of what my bees make here at our place. And I'll tell you what, our honey always tastes the same. I don't know. You'd think they go to something different, but they always have the same flavor of honey year after year after year. I suspect that it's mostly clover. That's what I think, because it tastes like clover honey to me. So just released a video this afternoon about actually I poured this for you guys in the video. So you can watch your jar of honey on my video. That'd be a lot of fun. And good night. I hope my shippers can ship this to you without it breaking. We're going to have to put it in some big time shipping things to hold it steady. All right, we're at 114 people. I'm ready to give it away. Let's see. Why don't we give it away at 120? So we need about 6 more people. Hashtag honey. Leave that in the comments, and you'll be perhaps a winner of the jar of honey that I bottled up on my video. We're down to 4 more people. Come on. Hashtag honey is that. Oh, look at that. Picked up some steam right now. 119. We're so close. I like this. I like watching numbers grow. Oh, we're stuck at 119. Let me hit my computer. Oh, there we go. It worked to hit it. All right, let's spin the wheel, see what happens. This should work on your end too. Oh, there it goes. Yep. Oh, a lot of people on tonight. Thanks, guys. Oh, Martin Desmond. Yeah, Martin, thank you. You won the honey. Hopefully you live in the United States and we can get this to you. I don't know if we can ship it overseas. Probably illegal or something, but we'll see. I should have said that beforehand, but we'll give it our best bet. So thanks for participating in the giveaway today. Appreciate it, guys. All right, let's have some time for questions. What time is it getting to be now? Oh, 7:33. All right, Wolfie Mom. How do you tell the difference between robber bees? I've watched the hive and I see foragers go in and out of the hive. Some still have pollen on them. Sometimes the guard bees will block a bee. Yeah, if a bee is coming in and out, it's with pollen on its legs, it is probably rarely ever going to be a robber bee. And if it is, boy, it's a smart robber bee, because I think bees come in with resources are going to be allowed in more quickly than those that are empty-handed. It would be the same at my house. If you knocked on my back door and you wanted in carrying suitcases of gold and money, you'd probably get in. But if you come in with empty suitcases wanting to remove things that I own, not going to make it. So bees are the same way. Robber bees, I will say this about robber bees. Robber bees are swarming around your hive. Not swarming, but they're flying around your hive, all around the sides, the back, the tops, right? They're not just going in and out of the front. Robber bees often have been in battle, and they're oftentimes hairless. They're older foragers from other hives. They've been in battles at the front of the hive, and they're usually hairless. Not always, but if they've been in a lot of battles, they've lost their hair. Robber bees, you're going to be able to determine them based on their activity at the hive. If they're going in and out like bees do in the spring and summer, they're your bees. But if they're having trouble getting in by guards blocking them and by them kind of snooping around the side and the back of the hive, probably robber bees. Yeah. In one of my videos I made about a week ago or so, I put my camera right up to the entrance, and I actually saw some very hairless bees, robber bees. I know they're robber bees because I've been feeding my bees around the building on the backside, and a lot of the bees that go there first are the hairless bees. The robber bees are out there scouting their older bees. And then I've watched where they go, and they're going back into the particular hive. So they live in that hive, but they go out and rob. I don't know if that helps or not, but any unusual activity is going to tell you they're probably robbers. Yeah, good question. Hey, Joe, how are you? How can I better understand the when to balance my hives? And I assume you mean balancing the frames, like moving frames around. Yeah, there's a window of time, I feel, when bees are pretty much done foraging and they're not going to be bringing in much more nectar. And at that time, before winter hits, there's a narrow window that you might want to manipulate frames, move frames from this hive to another hive. You probably saw a video where I had a hive with 2 deeps and 3 supers. I took one of the supers off and moved it over to another hive that needed a super. And that's balancing hives like that. I'm doing it. I think I said in my video, I made that video 2 or 3 days ago. I think I said in that video, I'm doing it because it's going to turn cold and I don't have any more days to get these hives balanced out like that. So don't complicate it. It just means you want to do it when they're not going to be able to do it anymore, right? No more nectar. And the other part of that equation is winter's coming and they're definitely not going to be able to do it. And you're not going to be able to help them if temperatures drop below 60 degrees Fahrenheit, because you shouldn't open your hive then. So somewhere in the middle between, bees giving up foraging and winter, that's when you need to balance those hives around for sure. Yep. Sneezy Ferret. Hey, thank you. Thanks so much, David, for your videos. Very informative. We're in our first year of beekeeping and we've learned so much. I want Santa to bring me a second hive. Wow. That'd be a great Santa visit for sure. That sounds really good. Well, thank you for being a first year beekeeper. EL, thank you for your donation today. Learn basic first. Find a local mentor club if possible. Take online stuff and articles with a grain of salt. Customize it to your area knowledge level. It takes a while to absorb info and learn hands-on. So very true. Absolutely. Thanks for sharing that. I totally agree with that. And stay with it. Process of learning is a lot of fun. You don't have to learn it all overnight. I'm doing some stuff that I've been doing for 10 years. I'm still trying to figure it out. Hi, Angela. How are you? We're 2 months new beekeepers in Nevada. Hey, I'm speaking in Nevada in February, Angela. I hope you can make it. I just got more information today, speaking at their state conference there. Looking forward to it. I spoke there last year. My friend John Zavishlock and I both be in Nevada. So guys, meet us in Nevada in February. That'd be fun. How do we estimate how many bees we have in our hive? We have a 10-frame brood box and are feeding 1-to-1 sugar water with the additives you recommend. Angela, that's one of the things that I think is the hardest to learn, because that is the sort of art and the craft of the hobby, of being able to look at a frame and say, there's not many bees on there, or there's a lot of bees on there. So again, the best thing to do is if you pull up a frame and there's not much space on it, like the bees on it don't really let you see much comb or anything around it. That's a lot of bees on one frame. It really is. Now, if you pull up a frame and thanks again, Corey. If you pull up a frame and you can see a lot of comb, there's not many bees on it, then that tells you there's not a lot of bees. So a lot of my hives, when I pull the frame up in my videos, it depends on it a little bit what you're looking at, but a lot of times I had to move the bees to see if that's capped brood or not. That's really what you want. You want to be able to have to move the bees to see what's under them. That you want bees covering things. Bees have to cover capped pupae anyway. They have to keep that warm. It has to be about 96 or 98 degrees or something, 92, but it has to be warm enough to pupate in an incubator in the capped cells. So bees have to heat that pupae that's capped over. That's why it's covered. That's why you uncover it. If it's not covered, then it could be, if it gets cool, won't be enough bees that have chilled brood and die. That's a good question. Hey, Jack, how are you? Hive from Montana. Well, yeah, Montana. Wow. My one hive is going through 3 quarts of syrup a day. Now, a lot of people ask me, "Oh my gosh, am I feeding my bees too much?" Yes and no, and the only way you can tell is by keeping an eye on it. If you can open it up and look, don't let them fill that brood area up with all that syrup, because then the queen won't be able to lay these beads of winter physiology we need. But hopefully, what we're trying to do is feed them enough that they can support the brood that they are raising, not use it to store it. Now, that's why I'm different than everybody else. That's why I don't feed my bees 2-to-1, because when you feed them 2-to-1, they like to store that. That's the old time traditional method of getting more honey in your hive. If they don't have enough, you feed them 2-to-1 because the bees don't have to spend so much processing and drying it down. They can store it. When I feed them 1-to-1 with protein and additives in it, they seem to think that's more like a pollen run, and they use it for operation brood building. So just have to keep an eye on the brood box as long as they don't fill that up too much. Very good question. Hey, George Newell, can a queen bee faint while marking? I know this question all too well. I picked up a queen. Like I always do, I've picked up thousands of queens and marked them. I picked her up, I marked her, and I grabbed her by the wings to set her back down, and she just fell over on the frame. And I was like, what? Did I smash her? I mean, I'm real careful not to push too hard. I don't hold them by the thorax like some people do. I hold them by their 2 back legs on one side. I couldn't believe it. I was like, what did I do? I felt bad. I didn't know what to do. So I picked her up. I put the hive back together. I just laid her on top of a frame between boxes. I put the box back together, and I thought, what did I do wrong? It bothered me so much that I went back the next day. She was walking around. She really was, and just as healthy as could be. Was a great queen. So yes, they do. I don't know I need to ask somebody that knows more than me what would cause them to faint. That it's not like we have so much like us, we can faint by a lack of oxygen in our brain or something, but maybe that's the same with bees. I don't know that, but she just kind of froze and passed out. So yeah, that does happen. You check, see if they come back. Hey, John, does moisture content of your honey determine its quality? I harvested 60 pounds my first year out of 2 colonies at 14.75 moisture. Yeah, that's great moisture level, by the way. Wow, there's no chance of that fermenting. We're happy to get 18 sometimes, 16 to 18. You're pushing down to 14. I think what it would do, it would make it feel much more dense or thicker, is my opinion. It's going to be really thick, chewy almost at 14. Just less moisture, right? And I should have tested this. It was capped over, so the bees liked it. I like it then. I don't have to test it, but I don't think it's going to affect the quality of it. It's just going to affect the consistency of it, how it feels, the density of it. It's good. Send me a bottle. I'll see what I think. Sometimes people feel like, I don't want to send David a bottle of honey. He's got too much honey. Hey, I eat a lot of you send me honey. I always eat it. So I enjoy honey from all around. I really do. A lot of fun. Tom, thanks for your gift tonight. Great show, David. Do you think there's also a decent percentage of new beekeepers lacking serious interest in beekeeping and thought they'd try it out? Many may just find it's just not their thing. That's with other hobbies. I do think that's true, Tom. However, I have a friend that is a scuba diver trainer. He's a parachute trainer. It seems like there's a better name for that. Skydiver teacher. And he says that they have a very difficult time retaining those people, that they join it, they join the club, they jump, they scuba dive, and all at once they don't come back. So to compensate, to kind of offset that, not having a good retention level, they pair a person with another experienced person, I think for a year. And so that's like, not only just like, hey, show up at the airport, we'll jump together, but it's more like, let's talk, let's go out for coffee, let's have supper together, let's go out for a meal, let's shoot the breeze. If you can connect to people in your hobby. And because let's face it, I'm in a lot of hobbies. I kind of don't like the hobby anymore, but I like the people. I like the community. And so I stay in a lot of hobbies now that I would have probably quit had I not had a bunch of friends that I enjoy being around. So yeah, I think you're right, Tom. Some people just find out, beekeeping's not my thing, but it can be your thing if you get around people. Like Tom, you live far away. We've talked on the phone. If you and I did a hobby together, neither of us like the hobby itself very good. Oops. I think you and I would enjoy being together. And we put up with the dumb hobby just so we could hang out and talk. Yeah. So we need to do a little bit more of that, but it's hard. There's a lot of people out there to mentor. That's for sure. But I like being around people, and that's what I enjoy the most about beekeeping is the times I get to share with other people, for sure. So some good questions tonight, guys. Brenda had a hive that got into poisoning. Oh, that's sad. Poisoning alive 1 week, dead the next. Oh, I see. 1 week is alive, dead the next week. Is there a free place to have them tested to find out what they got into? Maybe. I know that I've seen different places respond to this. You might contact your Department of Ag, Department of Natural Resources in your area. See what they recommend, because I know beekeepers in Illinois have had their bees get into poison, and somebody from either an extension office or Department of Ag, maybe they send somebody out to try to figure out what it was. So I know it's possible, but I don't know what state you're in, Brenda, but just do some research, call around. I'd start with your Department of Ag. I'd start with your Department of Natural Resources, County Extension Office, University Extension Office. They'll direct you to the right place, that's for sure. And it would be good to find out. Hey, Mark, how are you? I have 3 hive boxes with queen excluder installed. I want to take top box off, remove for winter. Do I just shake the top box of bees into lower boxes after removing the queen excluder? I'm not sure where you live, what state you're living in. That might make a difference. But yeah, I mean, it's a lot to go through the winter with 3 deep hive boxes. A little bit more room that I like here in Central Illinois. But you could certainly do that. Shake the bees off. Now here, wait a minute. Let's think about this, Mark. It sounds like you got 30 frames. I always like to look at all 30 frames and keep the best. I'm going to keep 20 frames, right? I'm going to keep the best 30 frames. So it may be that some of the frames down below may not have as many good stuff on it, may not have as much resources, may not have as much brood or something. So keep the best 20 frames and then shake all the bees on those. Yeah, that'd be my recommendation. Absolutely. Yep. Natural witchery. I just had a short flow after 3 weeks dearth. Should I start feeding now or in 3 weeks? Oh, that's a good question. I don't know if it really matters. Again, we can complicate that. It's not really rocket science. Bees can respond. I think if we have a pause from a honey flow, get them into this idea that, days are shorter, dearth is here. We need to store and raise bees of winter physiology. I do like to pause a few weeks. It's not going to hurt them if they have some resources on there. Test it out, wait 3 weeks and feed them. Save a little money even. Yeah, probably won't hurt a thing. Rob B's Apiary. Thank you, everyone, for your Beak Squad merch orders. Oh, hey, Robbie, good to see you. We love doing them. Keep them coming. Robbie and Candy. Robbie was one of my golden ticket winners that went to where's my board? Oh, here it is behind me. I'll be right back. Oh, let me stretch. Look at this. I showed you this last time. Yeah, we were at a creator convergence in 2023 over at Greg Burns' house and farm and bee place. And so Robbie was there. It's one of the gold ticket winners of the 5. That was cool. I got to meet him. But Robbie and Candy do a great job making these shirts for us and a hat. He actually gave me a hoodie with Beak Squad on it. And I should wear my hat more. I like wearing hats. And so thanks, Robbie. I appreciate that. And so everybody check that out, and you can support them by ordering a shirt from them. Andy, hi, David. Gave my bees a small sample of sugar block and saw them carrying it out and away from the hive a couple hours later. Ever experienced this? Thoughts? Yes, I have experienced that early on. I'm not going to mention any kind of labels or names or methods, but there are some methods that advocate using dry table sugar. And every time I've ever done that, the bees just pick it up, carry it outside the hive, dump it out. And I'm like, why is that? Well, bees really don't have teeth. I know people argue with me and they say they eat pollen patties, they eat bee bread. They're not chomping down on bee bread, people. They don't have teeth. They suck up everything through a straw like proboscis, and they can manipulate it with their mandibles and mouth parts a little bit. But they have to dilute things. They're more of liquid eaters, if anything. They're not carnivores. So that hard crystallized, it's kind of like crystal hard sugar. If they don't have a lot of moisture, they're not going to be able to do anything with it. And it's just a waste of time for them. And they just get rid of it. Yeah. Good point. Tom's back again with another donation. Thank you, Tom. Wow, you're going to give me enough donations to buy that Canon waterproof camera, I guess. Oh, where did that go? I was getting ready to read it. Get that back up there. Oh, absolutely would enjoy most hobbies if it meant chatting with you. I appreciate your insights and support. Well, thanks, Tom. Wow. I have to bring you on the show sometime. We can just chat together. Jessica and Sherry were like laughing that they accidentally dropped him off so fast, I guess. First year beekeeper. I lost my first hive during the summer in Arizona. Well, I'm sorry about that. Oh, due to a lack of water. I was crushed. They had plenty of honey. How much water do they need? Can I do frame feeder of water? Thanks. Bees are a little different than humans. We need a lot of water. We're made up largely of water. Bees, they need liquid. They're made up of cells that need to be liquefied as well, but they don't need an amount of water that we do. They use water, however, to cool their hive. So they do drink water, they do consume water, but a lot of the water moisture content bees they get through the nectar. Nectar oftentimes is 80% moisture when they gather it in their honey crop, and their proventriculus pulls the more overflow into their actual stomach that they can use. So I really feel that maybe what happened was that the water that they needed to cool their hive wasn't there. They actually put water droplets on the developing pupae to keep it cool, and they fan it, and that's how they keep their hive cool. So maybe they died from overheating, even though it may not have been real hot. It can be 80, 90 degrees, but bees are making a lot of heat in there. That's why they're outside bearding at night, even when it's 60 or 70 degrees. So yeah, I'm going to go with overheating from a lack of moisture. So any water we can give bees, they take it back and they cool their hive with it. So I heard once, never read the statistic on it to prove it, but I heard someone say at a big bee conference that bees will push about a gallon of water through the hive to cool it in one day on a hot day. They don't go out for nectar. They just go for water. Very good question. Yeah, I like that. Hey, Jared, is it too late to promote brood production in my hive if it hadn't already been feeding them? There's barely any brood right now, and I'm located in Houston Valley, New York area. Give it a try. Oh, absolutely. Jared, I think feeding bees is money. That's we say I'm from the South. That's we say in the South, that dog will hunt when you feed bees. That dog will hunt. Bobblehead David gets excited about bees being fed. Oh, he's here today. Look at that. And yeah, feeding bees, you can't go wrong. Absolutely. I mean, feed. Wow. Yeah, I would try to feed them, see what happens. How do bees obtain water during winter in Iowa? Yeah, like I said, bees don't need a lot of water, but I'll tell you what, bees make a lot of moisture in the wintertime. And a lot of moisture that they make is from their bodies. It's from the contrasting temperatures, cold outside, warm inside, condensing water on the inside. They utilize that water. So yeah, never do I ever feel that I need to put any water in a hive during the wintertime. They make so much moisture. It's always been my problem of having way too much moisture. That's why I invented the winter bee kind. It attracts moisture into it, making it edible for the bees to consume it in more of a liquid way. So yeah, I don't like a lot of moisture in the hive. And Reverend Langstroth wrote about this in the hive and the honeybee. He wrote about too much moisture in the hive too, in Ohio. Yep, that's good stuff right there. Cut down on the moisture level. They get plenty of moisture as they eat the honey during the wintertime. A lot of moisture there. Yeah, bobblehead David's waiting for another question. He's been all around with me speaking. Hey, Joe, thanks for all you do and share. What conditions should exist to want to switch from top feeding 1-to-1 candy board? Thanks again. P.S. I'm in California. Yeah, great. Pacific Northwest. Hey, I would say the way that I kind of feel like I need to switch from feeding the 1-to-1, like with my Burns feeding board, to a candy board is when the temperature gets to be 50 degrees or lower during the daytime. They're not going to really do much on that sugar water when it gets that cold. And they want to make more cluster. They'll be clustering more. So I just prefer to do it when it's temperatures drop below 50. So for me, I'll feed them. And you know, I'm kind of done feeding them too. I feel like I got enough brood. Some of my hives have enough brood now. I want 4 to 6 frames of cap brood in October. So I'm out there looking. And if I don't get it, I keep feeding them until they make more brood. And if once I have 4 to 6 frames of brood, I don't need to feed them anymore. I got most of them have a honey super on top, and I'm feeding them on winter bee kinds. So I hope that helps you. I'll take one more question. We're running out of time. EL, there you go. David, since we're probably getting an El Nino winter, do you have tips for bee care in rainy winters, aside from sugar syrup feeding and make sure they have a hive slope down toward the entrance? Yeah. So here's a hive over here. Oh, it's heavy. Must be full of honey. Yeah. So a lot of times we feel like if you don't have a screen bottom board, you might tilt it. And that was one of Reverend Langstroth's in his book. He was late 1800s. He invented, kind of created this hive that we use today. He used to stagger the opening like that, and it would rain inside of there. But he wanted the rain to drop out by staggering them. I would never do that. I don't want that much rain in my hive. But I feel like that, you know, the idea of El Nino and the extra moisture can be a problem. But I'll tell you, I'm resting at night, sleeping good, because those winter bee kinds will absorb every bit of moisture that those bees don't need. So I just don't worry about that. Yeah. All right. That's all the time we have tonight for questions. But I want to tell you guys, I love you all so much. I want to thank Sherry and Jessica for helping out tonight. Our website is Honeybees Online. People still ask me on my YouTube comments, they'll say, do you have a website? All my videos, I put my website in there. Honeybees Online, we thank you for dropping by. Appreciate you guys for watching. I've worked hard this week, especially. I've made so many videos this week, every day, I think. And so please drop by and watch those. I'm putting a lot of energy trying to get you guys built up and bee knowledge for these last minute things we need to be doing to our bees. I really want to thank all you guys for your kind donations tonight. That really helps out a lot. It does take a lot of money actually to run a YouTube channel and a live stream. It's not cheap. So I do appreciate you giving to the cause. That's what it's all about, giving to the cause. So I really appreciate it. So it's been great seeing you all. So what we're going to do from here on out is just keep doing what we're doing, getting ready for winter, keep doing live streams, and I'm going to be making more videos for you guys to enjoy. So I just want to tell you, really appreciate you supporting my channel. We're up to about 127,000 subscribers or more, I think. So you can even hit the subscribe button here and subscribe. And I have a lot more viewers than subscribers. So if you can make your way, help an old man out and subscribe, I appreciate it. I really don't feel that old, but I'm turning 64 in January. 64? Yeah. Wow, that sounds old saying it like that. All right, guys, I'm going to say goodbye, and we'll see you next time at our next live stream. Take care.